Welcome to Inspired Living with Marc and Kim. Every Wednesday, Marc and Kim, along with their special guests, will explore thought-provoking topics and ideas that promote creativity, self-help, healing, happiness, and well-being to inspire you on your spiritual journey. Each week, Marc and Kim will discuss different paths to achieving a more spiritual, balanced, happy, and healthy lifestyle. Topics will elevate consciousness and range from metaphysics to the human and social experience, and all things spiritual. Welcome to an inspired community that offers support, encouragement, and new ways of thinking. Marc and Kim are tested, certified, and professional spiritual mediums, metaphysical teachers, healers, and spiritual advisors with their own individual spiritual practices in Seattle, Washington, and Los Angeles, California. You are the inspired and the inspiration.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, inspired listeners all around this beautiful planet of ours. It's another Wisdom Wednesday, another episode of Inspired Living Radio here on the OMTimes Radio Network. We like to say that you are the inspired in the inspiration. I am your host today, Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector here in Seattle, Washington, and I am looking forward to our next 60 minutes together as I discuss with you on how to acknowledge and embrace some spiritual spring cleaning and planting some seeds today for the future you desire and want for tomorrow. It's going to be a fun show. It was something I was talking about on my Monday episode of Metaphysical Mocha Mondays with Marc. I touched briefly on some of the subjects I'm going to be talking about, but I'm just going to give you some tips, some seeds that you can plant in your garden, and some things that you need to acknowledge within your pathway and in your life that helps you change your energy, helps you change your vibration, and helps change your frequency of life so you can get on the path that you want most. My co-host today, Kim Thalkin in Richmond, Virginia, she has taken the day off, but she will be back next week for a teaching show that she's going to be doing on a very interesting subject. So you're going to definitely want to tune into that live show with her. And I'm going to be on vacation next week, so I'm looking forward to this upcoming vacation, getting a little bit of a sun down in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm here in Seattle, and it's been dreary and raining, and I'm ready for some sun and go down there and watch some basketball, do some golf, and of course maybe I'll come back a little bit richer than when I went down. If you want to learn more about the beautiful work that Kim does, she's a psychic medium, hypnotherapist. She does a lot of healing. She has a bi-coastal practice both in Richmond, Virginia, and also in Encino, California. So if you find yourself on the West Coast or the East Coast, you're able to work with her. And I know she does readings via Skype and phone and also in person. But you can visit her online at lovefirst.info. She is the founder of her spiritual bi-coastal practice, Love First. And you can book a session with her. If you would like to do a little of your own spiritual prospecting for your own spiritual gold with me, you can visit me online at marclainhart.com. You can do an internet search for the Intuitive Prospector. I should pop up on your internet search. You can find me also at Best American Psychics, Best Psychic Directory, and I'm a new featured member with a spiritual community of mind, body, and spirit called the Ariel Spiritual Community. And I'm excited to be a part of this community because it's fun, because there's news flashes that now go through, for those of you that have technology in your house, Alexa, there's news flashes that are streaming through Alexa, and I was featured this week in deciphering what is a psychic reading, what is a psychic reading all about, and it was kind of cool to go downstairs, activate the skill of Alexa. You got to turn your skills on if you have an Alexa through your mobile phone, and you can turn those skills on or from your computer. And it was cool to hear, breaking down a psychic reading, what a psychic reading is all about through the Ariel News Flash. So happy to be on board with them out of Atlanta, Georgia, and a featured member as part of that community. So it's a lot of fun. I do want to let you know of an event that is coming up. Before we get into our spiritual spring cleaning for today, I have an event on March 31st. It's going to be up in Arlington, Washington at A Path to Avalon. and it's going to be spiritual conversations and connections, a public demonstration gallery in mediumship, and I'm looking forward to connecting to everybody that will come out that evening. You can get more information off my website at marclainhart.com, and it's kind of the one-stop shop for everything that you need for the work that I'm doing here in the Pacific Northwest. I can't announce yet, but I have another event coming up that's local here in the Seattle area, and I'm excited to be working with a store just right down the street from me. Actually, I love how spirit works, and when one door closes, another one opens. Inner alchemy, and I'm excited to be working with them. And we've got some big events coming up both in April and May, so I look forward to sharing those with you here in the near future. So we are in the last week of February, if you can believe that. March is right around the corner, and with that we have our positive affirmation that we do every single week and that we share with you, the inspired listener. The positive affirmation is something that you can say throughout the day, when you wake up, when you're at lunch, before you go to bed. And positive affirmation, positive mantras, they do mean something. Your words matter. What your thoughts are become your words, and your words become, your actions. So words do matter. So pay attention to the words that you're sharing with yourself. This is part of your spiritual spring cleaning, if you will. But the positive affirmation for the month of February is, money flows in my life. I am prosperous. So for those of you that are struggling with finances, looking for more money, less bills, less debt, and we'll get into that too, because that's going to be part of the spiritual spring cleaning and acknowledging how we live and the things that we have. Because I like to say, at the end of the day, we can't take any of it with us. It's nice to have, and it's comfortable, to have, low debt and be able to take care of your family and pay it forward to help others. But at the end of the day, you don't get to take any of it with you. So again, the positive affirmation for this month, the last one in February, is, money flows in my life. I am prosperous. If you'd like to connect with us today on Inspired Living Radio, you can call in here in the United States. The call-in line for OMTimes Radio is 1-202-570-7057. We will be taking callers a little bit later here in the show on today's topic of spiritual spring cleaning. So if you've got a question for me, if there's something that you'd like to share with the inspired listening community, give me a call. Let's have a little spiritual chat, as I like to say. It's always fun. If you are outside the United States, that number will not work for you, so you'll have to post a question to our Facebook page, which is an international page. It is a closed community. We have over 1,100 inspired listeners now, which still is just amazing to me, because we started with 2, Kim and myself. And the Facebook page is called Inspired Living Radio. So ask to join, become an inspired listener. Love to have you join the community. And you can post your question from outside the United States there, and we will try to bring it live to air if we have time. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram. If you're on Twitter, Instagram, the handle for Inspired Living Radio is Inspired for Us. That is the number 4. So again, Inspired for Us on Twitter and Instagram. We like to share a lot of inspirational posts, a lot of inspirational links, and really just bring inspiration and the good deeds and works and energy that is going on in the world. Because even though you might think that the world is in chaos, but some of you might be thinking that the world is falling apart, but really there's just a veil that's being lifted, a veil of whether it's corruption or people not putting up with status quo or things that they used to put up with. It's just a veil being lifted, and when that veil rises worldwide, consciously, some can look at that as the world falling apart or chaos. So we try to bring a lot of inspiration back into the world, into the consciousness, into the vibration of life, and we like to share through our social media pages. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and we're also on Google Plus Communities, which that page has been growing for us as well. So if you're on Google Plus, look for the Inspired Living Radio community page. If you don't catch the live show, which is streaming live right now all around the planet, you can catch the encore shows on OMTimes Radio. It streams throughout the week, different times. Just go to OMTimes Radio here on the internet and check the schedule out. We're one of many shows here on OMTimes Radio, and you can there's a lot of knowledge, a lot of great radio shows with different topics that you can really tune into. So I highly recommend that. We're also on the archives page of OMTimes Radio, and this is our third season of Inspired Living Radio, if you can believe that. You can find us also on iTunes, YouTube, Podbean, SoundCloud, and I have my favorite episodes that I've done over the last 3 seasons on marclainhart.com, and I know that Kim has her favorite episodes over on lovefirst.info. Okay, so spiritual spring cleaning. We're going to get into, I got to check the time here, make sure we're going to go to our first break here in a few minutes. We've changed our breaks, so I'm kind of a one-man show, so I got to be paying attention to the Facebook page, making sure that we don't have any callers coming in. But I also want to let you know, if you want to subscribe to my YouTube library, that's something I've really been working hard on, working with YouTube. I've got 3 seasons of Inspired Living Radio episodes there that you can check out. I've got 2 seasons of Metaphysical Mocha Mondays now that I do every Monday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern through the OMTimes Institute page, and it's a Facebook Live interaction with me where I give you a topic, and then after that show is over, it's only 30 minutes, I give you inspiration for the week, then I switch over to my Intuitive Prospector Facebook page, and I do a Q&A after show, which has been a lot of fun because I get to engage with all sorts of people all around the world, and they ask questions. We have spiritual conversations and chats. I may do a quick reading for you, whether it's psychic or mediumship, pull a card just to help you out on the week ahead. And I really enjoy engaging through the Facebook Live of Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. But I have 2 seasons on my YouTube library. So if you want to subscribe to that, just look for me at Marc Lainhart. That's on just YouTube. Just type in Marc Lainhart or the Intuitive Prospector. And if you subscribe to the library, then you'll get all of the episodes of Inspired Living Radio, Metaphysical Mocha Mondays with Mark, and I have some of my favorite videos, diving videos, hiking videos from all around the world, what I like to call soul adventures that I like to share with everybody. So, as we approach our first break, I want us to take a second to get into the magic of the moment, because I'm going to be sharing with you some tips, some seeds of thought, seeds that you can plant for the year ahead, 2018. I like to say, explore the unknown, see the unseen in 2018. And we can do that today by planting seeds based on thought, based on our belief system, based on consciousness, based on the people that we surround ourselves with, and just going to be giving you some tidbits to write down and maybe put on a list of positive affirmations that you can apply to your life. So let's just take a second. Let's take a nice deep breath if you're listening to the live episode right now, and let's get into the magic of the moment and the message. So take a nice deep breath for me. And just take a second to relax. Take a second to put all of the thought of yesterday, even the past 10 minutes, to the side. Take a second to put the thoughts of the future to the side. And one of the ways that I do that, if I feel like I have thoughts of my past, what I didn't do, things I should have done, it vibrates to my left side. I just push that away. And anything to do with my future, the what-if world, what are my thoughts of where I'm going, what is life all about, that's to my right side, that vibrates to the right side of my body. So I push that away. And by doing that, it helps me to get into the magic of the moment. And just feeling how I'm feeling physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. It reminds me of a quote from Charlie Chaplin, who was a very inspirational, inspiring figure in life, and he says, "We think too much and we feel too little." And being in the magic of the moment is feeling on where you're at right now, not worrying about your past, not worrying about your future. And you can do that by focusing on your breath. You can do that by going outside and taking your socks and shoes off and just earthing into the ground. You can do that with a nice cup of tea and just really tasting the tea and smelling the tea and using your senses to get into the magic of the moment. And when you take those nice, deep, cleansing, healing, peaceful breaths, what that does is it changes your mindset, changes your thoughts, changes your energy, and it also changes your vibration. So just continuing to take a few deep breaths. Today we're going to be talking about spiritual spring cleaning, planting some seeds today for the future you desire and want for tomorrow. And just focus your mindset, set an intent. I'm always talking about when we set our intent that energy follows your intent. So if your intent is to relax, to tune into my voice, listen to this episode of Inspired Living Radio, then just set your intent. And when you start to focus on the moment, taking those nice deep breaths in and just letting breath and energy and prana flow through your body, it helps you to perceive guidance. It helps you to perceive different thought. You may get some inspiration that you didn't know you even had. This is a mindful meditation. This is an awake meditation. And there's many different forms of meditation, and that's something that we'll be talking about as well on the other side of the break that's coming up. But the power of meditation can change your life. I always like to say that the only way out is in, and that there's a lot of answers and a lot of knowledge in the power of sitting still and being silent with yourself. In fact, the anagram that I always talk about are the two words of listen and silent. If you don't know what an anagram is the same amount of letters in the word, and if you switch them around, it actually has two different meanings. So silent and listen, front to back. So it's very interesting. So just take another nice, deep, cleansing, healing breath with me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this show. Thank you for being a part of the consciousness and energy of Inspired Living Radio. And think about some spiritual spring cleaning for your journey, your path, and where you want to go in 2018. What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to get rid of? What do you want to clean out? Who do you want to surround yourself with? And just continuing to focus in on the breath. Finding the magic in the moment. And when we come back from our first break, I'm going to get into some topics, some things that we can talk about on planting seeds for the future you desire and want for tomorrow. This is Inspired Living Radio here on the OMTimes Radio Network. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
The future of Internet radio is here. OMTimes Radio, IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. Are you seeking answers to life questions? Would you like to connect to a departed loved one? Are you suffering from pain, stress, or anxiety? Kimberly Thalkin is a tested, certified, and professional psychic, spiritual medium, energy healer, hypnotherapist, and the founder of Love First, where life transformations happen. Love First services support, guide, and empower individuals by connecting them to their highest potential to live a healthier, joyful, and meaningful life that's filled with purpose. All services can be done by phone, Skype, or in person in Encino, California. Please visit lovefirst.info. That's LOVEFIRST.info for more information.
Hi, I'm Kelly Fox, host and astrologer of The Astrology Show. Each week, I'll give you access to the current transits, which are a valuable tool that provide astrological information to help unlock the potential each of us has. Understanding the stars can help steer us in the right direction to make better informed choices. So if you're wondering what's going to happen in your week ahead, be sure to tune in to The Astrology Show for guidance. Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
I'm Fidel Nshombo. I was born in a city called Bukavu in the Congo. We were a loving family, and then, boom, everything that I had disappeared in a single day. People think that when you are a refugee and they resettle you to America, and all your problems are done. They don't understand that that's the beginning of everything. I was not born a refugee. I was made one.
It's time we welcome refugee families with open arms. Learn more at embracerefugees.org, brought to you by the Ad Council.
And welcome back to Inspired Living Radio with Marc and Kim here on the OMTimes Radio Network. Today I'm riding solo as your host, as Kim has today off, but she will be back next Wisdom Wednesday with a teaching show, and I will be on vacation. So I can tell you that we are booked out for upcoming inspirational, great, knowledgeable, metaphysical, spiritual shows all the way into May already. So we're already booked for March and April. And if you are wanting to get on Inspired Living Radio and share your gift, share your knowledge, if you have a book, if you have a meditation CD, if you have some knowledge and guidance and experiences that you would like to share, you can email us at inspiredlivingradio@gmail.com. Would love to hear all the inspirational stories that take place on a daily basis. And that's what today's episode is about spiritual spring cleaning and planting some seeds today for the future you desire and want for tomorrow. So one of the things that I wanted to jump into right before the break there, we were getting into the magic of the moment, and we can do that by counting our breaths, just focusing on our breaths and putting the thoughts of past, thoughts of future to the side. Because when you actually set your intent for anything in life, really, if you set your intent, energy is going to follow that intent. Now, it's not just going to happen magically. You do have to, what we like to say is you have to have some attention to your intention, and you have personal responsibility. But one of the greatest gifts that you're given while you're here on Earth, in incarnating into the physical form to have these experiences, is your free will and choice to do what you want, and that's going to play into planting seeds for your future today. One of my favorite quotes that I have here in the studio, here I'm in Seattle, broadcasting live from my healing and prospecting studio, it's from Abraham Lincoln, and he talked about one of the most important things about the future is that it does come one day at a time. And a lot of us forget about the present moment, and we either find ourselves in the past of what we didn't do, or we find ourselves in the future of what we hope to do. But I'm here to inspire you today and just give you some guidance and knowledge for things that you can do right now to plant seeds so your future, your spiritual path, if you're on a spiritual path, maybe you're just on a path and you're not even into spirituality, and you don't have to be, that's fine. I wasn't always into spirituality. It wasn't until I had some tragic life experiences that changed my perception. It changed a paradigm spiritual shift, if you will, that got me thinking about death and dying and what lies beyond this, what I see in front of me. So if you're having a rough go, you found yourself to this episode for a reason. I do believe that energy and vibration and frequency are keys to unlocking the secrets of the universe, unlocking what is unseen and only felt or known. And you found yourself to this episode listening to my voice, so you were drawn here for a reason. And I would challenge you to explore and discover through your mind, body, and spirit of what you want out of life. Who are you? What passions do you have? What purpose do you serve? One of the things I've done in several teachings that I've been doing over the last 2 years is when we lack purpose and we lack a plan, that's where you can really get into some dark nights of the soul. That's where you can get into depression. That's where suicide can come up, and I've seen the whole range of it. And so try to find out what your purpose is. If you don't know, you may not know. It took me years to understand what my purpose was. And my purpose after I took my Myers-Briggs profile was to be and inspire. How can I inspire people and connect people and make this a better place, leave it better than when I found it, at least hope to leave it better than what I found it. Sometimes it feels like an uphill battle, but you got to stay. You always got to keep moving forward, or as I like to say, AMF, always move forward. And you got to keep trying, because keep moving forward and trying, not giving up, is eventually you're going to find where you're going. You're going to eventually find that success. It's I was watching Shark Tank last night, and Mark Cuban, he always reminds me, he's so just focused on what he wants, and he worked hard to get to where he's at, and he says you just need to be right once, you just need to be successful once and hit that goal that you're striving for, whether that's in a business, whether that's in a relationship, whether that's in money, whether that's in career. We all have different goals, but it all comes back to, what is your purpose, what is your passion, and what plans are you making to get on that successful future, whatever success looks like for you, because it is different for everybody. So what are some things that you can do right today, as you're listening to my voice, listening to this episode of Spiritual Spring Cleaning? What are things to give up? Now, this is something that I've had to, and I wouldn't be sharing this with you unless I'd actually have gone through this myself. I've had several dark nights of the soul, but I know that the dawn always comes, and that the light always, it's always darkest before the dawn, as they say. And I know that I myself, in just sharing my journey, this is not a lecture. This is recommendations based off my experiences and things that I have worked hard and things that I've acknowledged in my life to move forward, and to even be here on the radio talking to you today. I had no aspirations. I never thought I'd do internet radio. I never thought I'd do Facebook live shows or have a spiritual practice, working with people all around the world, doing phone readings, psychic readings, mediumship demonstrations. I didn't envision any of that. That's not the purpose I thought I was going to be doing. But now I look back at it with all the tragedies, my own near-death experiences, I realized, and being an inspirer as far as my Myers-Briggs profile, of who I am in the world, it made sense. It all tied together in a nice little bow after years of going through this. But one of the things that I first had to give up, and then I'm just going to give you some things to write down that will help you on your spiritual spring cleaning. It's no different than cleaning out your house. It's no different than cleaning out the clutter of your mind, getting rid of things that no longer serve you, opening up new space so that you can create, getting rid of old things so you can create new space to come in, whether that's energy, whether that's actual things, people, places. And so one of the things that I first looked at it was the excuses. Why was I having so many excuses in my life of why I did not want to do this work? I was worried about what people would think about being a psychic spiritual medium, talking and connecting with those on the other side. And I had a lot of excuses, and that was something that I really need to look at. And I'm just sharing that with you, that if you want to start planting seeds for today, one of the things that you need to start giving up are excuses. Because excuses will always create that negative mindset. And like I said, it all starts with the mind. It starts with your thoughts. Your thoughts become your words become your actions become your behaviors become your destiny. So one of the things to give up is excuses. Another thing to really think about, something to give up, self-doubt. We all have self-doubt. I'm no different. But one of the things that is going to hold you back is you are your own worst enemy. And when you have self-doubt, sometimes you have to take that leap of faith. And I work with a lot of people. I can't tell you how many hundreds of readings I've done over the last 4 or 5 years. It's a lot. But one of the big things that comes up is excuses and self-doubt. And when I'm working with my clients, I tell them that that's why it's called a leap of faith, that you have to, take that step, because the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. But if you have self-doubt and you have excuses, you won't overtake that first step that will lead to an amazing journey. It reminds me of the Joseph Campbell quote that he talks about: the cave that we fear holds the treasure that we seek. And that's so very true, you guys. It's so very true that we create our own fear. There is real fear in the world, but you're always going to do one of three things. From my experiences of being in the Coast Guard for 8 years, from being a professional retired firefighter, there's real fear. And the fear that you're going to experience, your body's going to do a natural thing. It's going to fight, flight, or freeze. that's when real fear is present. That's when, if there's a fire or there's a car accident, you're going to fight, flight, or freeze. That's the normal responsive behavior of humans. But then as humans, we have this thing on top of our shoulders called a supercomputer. It's a brain, if you will. And there is the old adage, I think, therefore I am. And it's a blessing and a curse, because with our ability to think higher than ourselves, to connect to our higher self, connect to energy, to connect to consciousness, we create within our mind our own fear. And for me, I look at fear as false evidence appearing real. And if I'm not going to fight, flight, or freeze, then it's not a real fear. And so that's where the self-doubt you can start to overcome that self-doubt. That's where you can overcome those excuses, because sometimes that fear energy can hold us back. And that's also the fear of failure. We were just talking about this on Saturday with the practice group, that we come together so we can fail often and we can fail big, because I use the acronym for fail as first attempt in learning. Everything is about learning, but society would have you believe that you fail, so you must not be very good at it, and you should just give up. And I'm here today to tell you to not give up, to keep moving forward, always move forward, fail often, fail big, because it's a first attempt in learning. And don't buy into the fear that your mind can create, which is false evidence appearing real. So things to give up: excuses, self-doubt, the fear of failure. Again, there is, society is, especially here in America, we're a capitalist. Everything is about, how successful you are based on the amount of money you have or what your status is in society. And you can have great successes without having to, have this huge house and nice car. There's a lot that you can do for the world, and having a fear of failure is one of the things that you have to give up in 2018. If you want to start having some spiritual spring cleaning for your path, you got to give up excuses. You got to give up self-doubt. You got to give up that fear of failure. And again, I'm saying this to you because my journey myself is a fear of failure, of things that I, in my path that I would be, worried about, and, fear that I would fail at something. And once you change your mindset, Dr. Wayne Dyer talked about this all the time. When you start to look at the things differently, the things that you look at do start to change. And it's a perception, and it's a focus, and it's a mindset of how you see your external world. And so when I changed my mindset, that fear of failure went away. Another thing to give up if you want to start planting seeds for a successful, again, whatever success is for you, it's different for everybody, but it's procrastination. You gotta, like I was just saying earlier in the show, that you have to have attention to your intention. And by setting your intentions, that energy is going to follow, that mindset's going to follow. But if you're procrastinating and you're not putting attention to your intention, and you're waiting for something to happen, it's probably not going to happen. You're going to have to take some actions. You're going to have to take some leap of faith. You're going to have to you have to make some choices. Make a choice, take a chance, and watch the changes unfold, the 3 C's of life, as they talk about. But you have to have personal responsibility for your future. It's not like Amazon, where you just can order up a great future, and a day later it shows up at your door via Amazon truck. I guess in the future it'll show up 30 minutes later via drone as we're moving into the future. But you have to take attention and put that to your intention, and then also stop procrastinating, because if you're going to procrastinate, it's not going to start generate that vibration, that frequency, and that energy that you put out into life, because what you put out does come back. So some of you may be thinking about The Secret, like attracts like. I firmly believe this with my own path and in my own experiences, that the right people, the right opportunities, it's very, I'll give you a real life example of things going on right now. I had been working with a place last year for some spiritual events, had done a few spiritual galleries, had a friend of mine and a colleague come up from Denver and join me for a joint mediumship. In fact, she's going to be on right after Cynthia Rose's, right? It follows Inspired Living now on Wednesday, so it's cool to see her on the radio and hear her voice and what she's sharing with the world. But we did a few events last year, and then the place closed down. It changed ownership. So I thought, well, shoot, I wanted to have a place here in Seattle where I could, do events, but also bring people in and share mediumship and psychic sciences and healing with the local community. And the place shut down, and I thought, well, I'll just trust Spirit that the spirit world will open up a new place. And wouldn't you know it, not more than a difference of maybe 2 blocks from where the old place was, a new place opened up. And has invited me to do a couple events there. And so I was just amazed at the energy of like attracts like, and it's a smaller place, but still it's about reaching people and being involved in the local community. And so I'm excited to do something with them in April and in May for both a public demonstration and a workshop. But it's just, trusting that process that, the energy will, the right people, the right places, the right timing will literally fall into your lap if you're open to it and let go, if you will. It's that old adage, hold on and get dragged, or let go and be free. So just to recap some of the things that we're talking about today on Inspired Living Radio, because it's an inspirational show to help you do a little spiritual spring cleaning for your journey ahead and what you want in 2018 and beyond as we move into 2019. But also just a reminder that there is no guarantees for tomorrow, and the guarantee you have is right now. That future is there, but what you're doing today to plant those seeds happens right now in the magic of the moment. So get rid of things in 2018, things to give up, excuses, self-doubt, fear of failure, procrastination. Here's a big one for me, people-pleasing. Most of my life, I tried to please people either for acceptance into the group or being liked. And most of us, not most of us, but some of us may feel like that we're living a life according to somebody else's plan, when really you need to live your life according to your plan. I like to say that's living authentic. And when you live authentic, you're not worrying about other people's opinions about what you should or should not be doing. And trust me, I dealt with this when I came out of the spiritual closet, if you will, to be talking about this, writing about this, doing events, doing readings. There was a lot of judgment on me, and even from family and friends. I had some friends that went away, and I had some family members that distancing themselves from my journey. But living authentic is knowing that for every person that leaves your life, 2 more of like mind will fill that void. And I found that very much to be true. Again, there's that like attracting like. So we're going to go to our last break, and we're going to come back and we're going to finish up some spiritual spring cleaning. So stick around. We'll be back in 2 minutes. This is Inspired Living Radio, where you are the inspired and the inspiration.
The cutting edge of conscious radio, OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
Have you wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
One planet, 7.3 billion people, only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Marc Lainhart, the intuitive prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Marc's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream. Dare to explore. Dare to live. For more information on Marc's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marclainhart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.
Tune in to The Practical Intuitive, Mind, Body, Spirit for the Real World with me, host Robin Fritz, Mondays at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern. I'll cover personal and business intuition, animal communication, mediumship, space clearing, past life regression, shamanic insights, energy healing, soul choice, and more, all to help you tap your own intuitive and healing skills. No ifs, ands, or buts.
America's service members and veterans are strong, forged out of bravery, sacrifice, and duty. Sometimes reaching out for help can be the most challenging and worthwhile mission of all. When you recognize something isn't right, make the call to the Veterans Crisis Line or Military Crisis Line. Dial 1-800-273-8255 and press 1.
And welcome back to Inspired Living Radio with Marc and Kim. Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, broadcasting live from my healing studio here in Seattle, Washington. Want to thank you so much for joining us here for the hour, or what we like to say, Wisdom Wednesdays, where we get a lot of information depending on the topic. Today's topic, it's just me sharing with you on how to, as we move into the month of March, how to do a little spiritual spring cleaning and planting some seeds in your garden today for the future you desire and want for tomorrow. So right before the break there, I was talking about some things to give up, and it's so amazing how fast time goes by when you're doing these episodes. And I'm going to be teaching a class through the OMTimes Expert Platform and Learn It Live that's going to be more detailed about getting into this, because it's so hard to cover all the information. But that's going to be coming up in March, so you can visit marclainhart.com for more information on getting registered for that class. And if you're interested, I do have an online spiritual development group that is closed to the public. So if you're interested in thinking about doing a little spiritual development, whether that's psychic, intuition, awareness, mediumship, I do have an online group. You can also get that information off marclainhart.com. So one of the things that I was talking about on things to give up to help you with planting seeds and help you to start moving forward for the future you want and desire is things to give up is excuses, self-doubt, fear of failure, your procrastination, or our procrastination. We're all procrastinators. People-pleasing. So right before the break, that's where I was getting into people-pleasing. One of the things I just wrote about was the people you choose to be around can alter your vibration and influence your behavior. This will shape your future, so choose carefully. And that's very important, because people-pleasing is not living authentic. It's not living your life. It's living somebody else's when you try to please others. Now, with that, you always want to be kind, caring, and compassionate is what I'm always talking about and teaching with others. But it doesn't mean that you have to live according to their plan, and it's okay to say no. Another thing to give up is fear of success. That is a real thing. I myself have grappled with this. I wasn't sure I wanted to do a spiritual practice, and then I was a little fearful of maybe how successful this practice would become and working with people. And so there is a real fear of success. But again, don't let that fear, that false evidence appearing real, hinder your success of who you are and whatever success is for you, because it is different for everybody. For me, success was actually starting a small business, starting a spiritual practice, and being able to do this work and get paid to do what I love, but also bring about healing and inspiration and guidance and education and knowledge and wisdom to help others that have gone through, maybe a tragic event, something that I can share with people, having that empathy to connect with people and the tragedies that I've gone through in my own life, my own near-death experiences, and be able to connect with people, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. I always like to say, collect memories, not things. So get rid of your negative thinking. Negative thinking, doubt. I like to say that doubt is the seed of negativity and failure. So that self-doubt, that fear of success, that negative thinking, but also the negative thinking is tied to your negative self-talk. So if you're having negative self-talk, that means that you have a thought, because your thoughts become your words. So get rid of the negative thinking, get rid of the negative self-talk. Just like the positive affirmation we had for February, that money flows in my life, I am prosperous. The more you say that, the more that you create that vibration, that mindset, and that mindset is very, very, very powerful. one of the other things I'd say to get rid of in your spiritual spring cleaning is judgment of others. We're in such a society today through social media. It's very easy to attack others and judge others. I always remind myself, one of my reminders for my own journey is to be humble or to get humbled. Because trust me, guys, I've been humbled many, many times. This thing that I call ego, or I actually have a name for my ego, has been trampled on many times because of confidence, arrogance, judgment. And for every finger that we're pointing out at somebody, remember that there's 3 fingers pointing back at us. So careful with your judgment of others. I always try to teach people to be an observer don't let that reaction action energy always fall into place. Maybe be an observer and take a step back before you judge or say something. So things to give up to help you with planting seeds for your future is judgment of others, and with that, negative people in your circle, whether that's a family member, a friend, a coworker. Now, a coworker is kind of tough. Family can be kind of tough, but you can still love them from a distance, but limit them on your interactions with them, because again, if you want to unlock the secrets of the universe, like Nikola Tesla talks about, you have to think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, and that's no different from somebody's energy that they're emanating off. Just like Mother Earth emanates the electromagnetic field, your heart emanates an electromagnetic field that can go up to almost 20 feet in radius. They've done several studies on this. It's fascinating to learn about. The human energy field, or HEF, is what we call it. So if you're around negative people, you may unconsciously be picking up their negative thoughts, their negative energy. One of my mentors early on taught me to, am I thinking this, or is somebody else making me think this or feel this? So be careful of your, who you surround yourself, because again, the people you choose to be around can alter your vibration, influence your behavior, and it will shape your future. So choose carefully. So those are some things to give up for 2018 and as you move forward with your path. But there's also some things in the next, we got about 10 minutes or so, I want you to have some things that you don't need to apologize for. Part of your path of living authentic, living in the moment, is things that you don't need to apologize for is to love someone. Love reminds me of a song from Les Mis, one of my favorite plays, one of my many favorite plays. Hamilton, I just saw Hamilton a few weeks ago, and that's actually probably my number 2 behind Phantom of the Opera now. But Les Mis on the soundtrack, it talks about to love another is to see the face of God. And so, if you're in love with somebody, somebody loves you, whether this is a relationship, a child, a friend, a coworker, you don't have to apologize for loving someone, because the energy of love, the vibration of love is healing, and it's the greatest gift that we're given. It's the one true power that I find that connects the physical world through the heart to the unseen world, the spiritual world. When I have messages coming through in mediumship, it's through the power of love. So don't apologize for that. Don't apologize for saying no. Part of setting your boundaries and protecting your peace, which I talk about and teach about all the time, protecting your peace is the ability to say no and then not feel guilty about it. Because I know some of you listening today have that ability to say no, but then you feel extremely guilty because you said no, and there's that people-pleasing aspect. It's okay to say no, stand in your power, set that boundary, and don't make assumptions. When people get in their mindset about they're feeling guilty about saying no, I always remind them of the 4 agreements. Read the book, The 4 Agreements. Do what you say you're going to do. Do your best at what you're doing. Don't make assumptions about it, and don't take things personally. And saying no can be just as easy. Don't apologize for following your dreams. It's your dream. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. It's your path. It's your ability to live authentic. So don't apologize for following your dream. And in order to follow your dream, sometimes you have to take the me time. The me time meaning that you have to take the time to disconnect so that you can have the time to reconnect, whether that's taking a trip, whether it's doing a workshop, whether that's getting out in nature, whether it's sitting with a nice book and a cup of tea. It is taking the me time for your energy, your frequency, and your vibration to life. So don't ever apologize for taking me time, and listen to that inner voice, because the inner voice will tell you that it's time for some me time. Don't apologize for your priorities. It's your priorities. It's your life. The greatest commodity that we're given while we're here is time. How much time do you have? And it reminded me, one of the things that stuck out in the play Hamilton, Alexander Hamilton, one of the founding fathers of the United States, an immigrant from the Caribbean, by the way, that decided to use the power of the pen. And one of the songs was talking about he's writing like he's running out of time. And that's very true, because the one thing that's guaranteed to us in life is death and taxes, as they say. And what are your priorities for the time, the greatest commodity you have, while you're here on the earth? One of the things I always remind people is dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live, because you don't know how much time you have. And I've seen it firsthand, guys. I wouldn't be telling you this if I hadn't seen it professionally and personally through the U.S. Coast Guard, through the fire service, through my own experiences, that time is a great commodity. Don't waste it. Do that by having your priorities, and tie your priorities into your purpose and your passion for the plan that you're creating right now, because we're spiritual spring cleaning. We're having a lot of fun as we spiritually spring clean our mind, our energy, our house, our life. One of the things to not apologize for is ending any kind of toxic relationship. If you have a relationship, and we've all been there, most of us have been there and have had that one toxic relationship, again, it's okay to end that. People are lessons and blessings. Sometimes they're both. But you don't need to have that toxicity be continued in your life, and you can move forward. And of course, don't apologize for your imperfections. So I try to convince people, specifically my wife, that I'm perfect, but it falls on deaf ears, I guess, and she still doesn't believe me after 25 years. So, and I have a colleague that would probably say the same thing, that if she's listening, that your imperfections are who you are. Embrace them and love them, and understand them, and know that we all have our imperfections, but don't ever apologize for it. Stand your ground. That's a big thing. We're seeing that in society right now, about people standing their ground, standing for what's right, standing for a cause, whether it's the Stand Up movement, the Me Too movement. Like I said, there's a lot going on in the world, and it's not the end of the world, and the world's not falling apart. There's this literally a veil that's being lifted and exposed of people no longer putting up with bad behavior, negative, demeaning ways of thinking, and people are standing up. Don't apologize for standing up for what you believe. You can stand up and debate. You can stand up and, your voice and your words matter, but do it in a way that can be, constructive. Have a constructive, common sense conversation with somebody. It's not necessarily about you being right, and it's not about them being right. It's sticking to the facts of what you're having your conversation on. And for me, sometimes I have to remind myself, do I want to be right in this topic, or do I want to be at peace? A lot of times, younger me would want to say, the ego would say, I want to be right, but the ego today, I just say, I'd rather choose my peace. But stand up for what you believe, and do it in a way that connects people, not drives people apart. And again, don't apologize for standing your ground. And telling the truth. Don't apologize for telling the truth. Sometimes it's a hard thing to do, to tell the truth, but at the end of the day, it's the right thing to do. And they talk about integrity is when nobody is looking and doing the right thing and telling the truth. And that's part of what's playing into today's society, because people are telling the truth. So we've had a couple things. Like I said, I'm going to be teaching a class that's going to have a little bit more in-depth detail about this topic specifically. And let's see here. Let's see. I've got a question coming in on the Facebook page. I only got a few minutes left here. And this question is coming in from Katie. How do you deal with being involved with someone that you can't quite make work, but you can't quite let go for some reason or another? So, great question. Thanks for the question, Katie, that came in on the Facebook page. Appreciate our inspired listeners always listening in. How do you deal with being involved with someone that you can't quite make work? Well, I think, for me, I always try to look at the glass is half full. What can you do to make it work? Why is this person in your life? And if you can't quite let go of this person, whether it's a relationship, whether it's an attraction, an addiction, a love, sometimes by having that person in your life, you can actually enrich your life and make your life better. So it really is, it's perception, it's mindset, I guess, is how I'd answer that, Katie, of, making it work. Again, what's the definition of work? So only the people in that relationship can define that. But for me, I try to look at it, the glass is half full, and always try to make it work. It's always moving forward. But if it is a toxic relationship, then you do have to let it go. But it doesn't sound from your question like it's toxic. It's more of just trying to figure out how to make it work. So thank you for your question. I really appreciate it. So we only got about a minute left here, so I appreciate the question coming in. Again, I'm going to be off next Wednesday. Kim will be back with her own show, a teaching show. It's going to be a fun topic. You won't want to miss that. And again, if you want to work with me, if you want to catch one of my events or do a one-on-one reading, a spiritual assessment, you can visit marclainhart.com. You can find us here every Wisdom Wednesday on Inspired Living Radio, our third season, at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to hang out with me on Facebook Live, I'm live every Monday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern. I will be off this Monday because I will be on vacation. But I'm most Mondays you can find me for the Metaphysical Mocha Mondays with Mark, and then the Q&A after show. It's been a real pleasure talking with you today. I hope you get something out of this. I will be having a class coming up that will go into a little bit more detailed that I didn't get to today, ways to achieve wealth and success, but you'll have to sign up for that class to get that information as well. But I hope that you had a nice spiritual spring cleaning today, and that you are planting seeds today for the future you desire and want tomorrow. So until our next soul adventure together, be kind, be caring, be compassionate, and we'll see you on the next Wisdom Wednesday of Inspired Living Radio here on OMTimes. Namaste.